Hi guys, I noticed that we're having a little problems with polls. So let's talk about the polling problem for Unit 6 here. The first things first, we need our usual suspects. So I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. I'll go back and forth. Now in our assignment, it first talks that we need to have three options. 1, 2, or 3, and 0 gets us out of the program, and it's going to tally up. Well, the second part would be to make a bar graph, but we'll see if we can get to that. So let's go here. We're going to need our usual input, so include IOStream, include string, and using and our int main. Okay, first things first, let's talk about having our program run. Now we want it to run until the user hits 0. So the best bet is to have a do while. Why a do while? Because it allows our program to run at least once. We at least want to prompt our user, give them some options, and if they choose to hit 0, then at least it would end. So having a do while will have it run once. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do a do and while. And my cin at some point is going to be called food is not equal to 0. And that's going to pop me out of this do while. Okay, so this conditional, oops, this is a loop that runs until user hits 0, or sorry, chooses. Okay, so now let's prompt our user here. We're gonna need some couts. And I'm gonna at least tell them what this is. What is your favorite food pool? Another one, I'm gonna have them choose. So 1 is going to be pizza. 2 is going to be hamburgers. And 3 is going to be tacos. Sure, why not? And then cout, enter your favorite food choice, type 0 when finished. All right, and then I'm gonna cin and food. Okay. And I'm gonna have some spaces after that. So cout. Okay, so I have one variable that I declared here, or that I'm using, so I need to declare that. Int food is going to be 0. All right, so let's run this and see what happens. I'm going to hide this here. And hopefully food. Other way. There we go. And I'll put that here. Reads and user selection. Okay. Run it again. What is your favorite food poll? 1, pizza, 2, hamburgers, 3, tacos. Enter your choice, type in 0. Looks like I want a space or a new line after tacos, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I am going to do that. Right there. And I can run it again. Here it is. What is your favorite food poll? Enter your choice, type 0. If I type 0, whoops, it should end. Perfect. Okay, so now let's make our selections. And I'm going to do that after I read it at N inside my do while. So here we go. If food is equivalent to 1, we're going to count. And I'm going to count pizza. So count and if else if food is equivalent to 2, I'm going to count hamburgers. Else if food is equivalent to the number 3, the input is equivalent to number 3, count tacos. And I'm going to do another else if food is equivalent to 0. Yes, it's going to automatically quit this, but I just want to see out. See out. I'm going to have some kind of see out that just tells them, like, that's going to tell them, here are your results. Maybe here are your results. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to have an else. So if they don't pick 0, 1, 2, or 3, I want them to have one more thing, and it's going to be see out, maybe invalid food selection. Please choose 1, 2, or 3. All right, so that should be my input. I'm going to tighten this up here. And this is just going to do some counts for me. Oh, and since I used count tacos, whoops, count tacos, count hamburgers, and count pizza, I'm going to need to declare those as well, because we're going to use them for our results. And count pizza and count hamburgers and count run. Hopefully I don't have any errors. Excellent. So what is your food choice? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put in a number that's not on there, 9. And then look, it says invalid food selection. Please choose 1, 2, or 3. And then it spits back out what is your favorite food poll. 0. And then here are your results. So let's talk about making a result. So it at least does the selection. It's counting something. It's storing the information of how many pizzas, hamburgers, and tacos we have. And it's ready for us to output our results. So we know that this part's all working as far as that simple input and output. But let's really check if our results are working. So for our results to show up, I'm going to do it after the do while. So it's after the do while when it closes out, and this is where I'm going to show results. All right, so let's have some couts. And I'm going to make them tab because I like it to I want them to be in columns, if you will. So I'm going to show them in a tabbed format. So I'm going to tab this out. And to do that, if you went back to nested loops assignment in Repellent, there is code that shows you how to kind of make a bar graph or at least have some tabs and columns. This will help us establish some columns using the tabs. So it's using this \T. Pizza. And I'm going to see out that, I'm going to put it in parentheses, that pizza count, or that count pizza number here. And I'm going to do the same thing for hamburgers. I'm going to tab it. And I'm going to see out those counts for okay. And then I'm going to do one more for tacos. And to get it over, I'm probably going to do a double tab. So see out. Let's see how well that shows up. Okay. And then I'm going to put a new line after my taco results. Okay, so let's run this. So here I'm just putting pizza, and then I'm doing the count of pizza, hamburgers, or tacos, depending on how many times I've inputted them. Okay, so let's go back up here. Let's do one pizza, one hamburger, one taco, another taco, and one more pizza. And then let's do 0. And there are my results. So 2 pizzas, 1 hamburger, 2 tacos. Perfect. Okay, so there are your simple results. Now the second part here says, try making a bar graph that shows the results. So we have the results, but let's talk about making a bar graph. In a bar graph, I'm talking about, I might use X's. So it's more like an X graph than a bar graph, but it depends on how you want to do this. And in order to do this, you're going to use a double for loop. So if you looked back at nested loops, we're going to in fact create a nested loop. And we're going to do that because we're going to put an X for every time we are selecting pizza, hamburger, taco, and we kind of need like a grid. So we've already established our first columns, but we're going to have to establish a more set column and row type matrix, and that's what a double nested loop is going to do. So let's go ahead and give it a go. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller here. And we're going to first set up our first outer loop. Set it at 0. I is going to be less than, and then I'm going to do overall count. And the overall count is going to be something that's going to count however many times all the numbers have been selected. And that's going to establish our rows. Okay, so because I have overall count here, I need to create an overall count. So overall, it's going to be an int, overall count. And I want this to be set to 0. But every time I click 1, 2, or 3, I want it to count. I want to add to that overall count. So let's go back into our menu selection and put overall count. So we're going to add to it anytime we pick 1, 2, or 3. And the reason why we're using the same is because no matter what, if we're picking 1, 2, or 3, it's just going to add to that overall count. And overall count, so like if we picked 1, 2, or 3 multiple times, it's just going to make however many rows that we've picked that. Okay, so that's our outer loop, and that establishes our rows. Now let's establish our columns, and we're going to have another for loop here. Set it to 0. And J is going to be less than 3, and that's going to be for pizza, hamburgers, and tacos. So that's why we only need 3. And in here, we're going to tab over once. So that way it's all nice and neat. And then we're going to do some checks. So we're going to check. Anytime that pizza is selected, we're going to put an X. Anytime hamburgers are selected, we're going to put an X. And anytime tacos selected, we're going to put an X. So I'm going to do a while loop, while. And I'm going to say while pizza is selected, while pizza is 0, is greater than 0, we're going to put an X in there. So I'm going to see out. I'm going to see out an X. And then I'm also going to count down my pizza. And the reason why we're going to do that, I'm going to show you in a second, is I'm creating a new, pizza's new, and I'm going to actually do a pizza count, or I'm going to count pizza. And this is solely just for the tallying, to show the X's. And so every time I hit 1, it's going to add to the word pizza. And then once, so if I hit pizza more than once, it's going to be greater than 0. It's going to put an X. And then it's going to start counting down, at least for the word pizza, or the variable pizza. So that way, at some point, it's not going to show an X anymore, because pizza will be less than 0, less than or equal to 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and declare pizza. And we can do that right now if we want for all of them. Pizza, hamburgers. Okay. So here, basically it's just saying while pizza is greater than 0, the selection, the amount of selections is greater than 0, we're going to put an X, and then we're going to start subtracting it so that way it knows when to stop putting an X. Okay. And then we're going to do a break because we want it to break. And this will break out of that inner loop. Okay. And then it waits to do another comparison. So we're going to do the same thing for hamburger. While it's greater than hamburger, we're going to do a tab because hamburger is a little bit further over. And in fact, we might have to do this twice because hamburger is pretty far over here. Okay. I'm going to see out an X of hamburgers chosen. And then I'm going to count hamburger back down. And I'm going to break. Okay, so let's double check one time. So if food is selected, we're going to count the number of pizzas. We're going to do an over count, and then we're also going to do a pizza. And that's going to be for our columns, our tally. And show results. We have 4 rows. Here. So here we need hamburgers. And tacos. Okay. I think I can't put, oh, I didn't capitalize tacos. Sorry. Lowercase. Okay. So we're back down to our whiles. And we're breaking every time for if we're placing an X, basically, when it's selected. And I need one more while. Tacos is greater than 0. Here I'm going to need multiple tabs to get it over to that taco column. So I'm going to just start out with maybe 2. And we'll go from there. And then let's do cout X and tacos minus and a break. So that break will get us out of that inner loop here and then go to the next line. After that, we're going to need one more break. To get us out the inner loop. This closes okay, so that closes inner loop J. We need, I'm going to skip a few lines here at the end of the program. So I'm going to do a cout. Or sorry, cout here. I'm going to have another closing here. This closes loop I, outer loop. And then I'm going to skip a bunch of lines at the end. Cout. And this add space. To end of output. And then I should have, that closes closes the program. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at this. I'm running, hopefully no errors. Oh, I have an error. Hamburger. So hamburger wasn't declared. Let's double check, make sure I spelled it right. Looks like I made it plural, so I gotta make this hamburgers plural. All right, looks like it's running. We're at line 78. Right here too. Okay, so what is your favorite food? I'm gonna do one pizza, hamburgers, 3 tacos, and 0. Okay, looks really good. It does, my pizza's all in the row, hamburger sort of in a row, but that taco needs to be moved over a little bit. So let's do 1 tab. So remember, this shows the results. The for loop does our tallying. So I'm gonna actually shows the tallies. Okay. So this is showing the results numbers. This is showing the tallies. So you guys know. Okay, so I need to get that taco over a little bit more. So it looks like I need 1 more tab. And it just takes some time. But it's good to do, when you do your program, do it in steps. Make sure things are seeing out the way you want them to, and then come back. So 1. Looks good. It looks like this is just having a little problem. Let's try, let's try taking our couts here and put them here. I don't think that's what we want to do, but we'll try it. Okay, well that helped. So it might be on a combination of how they are. So in fact, I might make this one come out here as well. Let's see if we can run this. Okay, so let's do weird combinations. 1. There we go. Perfect. So it's just a matter of fidgeting around. So all I did was move those tabs outside of the loop, so that way they already preset it when it's ready to go. Perfect. So if you have any questions, let me know. But this should help you out. I'll also put this in a sample for you to look at.